Today, we are back with 10 more real hacking gadgets that you can actually buy right now in 2026. No dark web, no special access, just open websites and a credit card. Some of these are even more unsettling than anything we covered last time, including a device that costs less than your morning coffee and can silently record every keystroke typed on a keyboard without ever touching the software. Starting with number 1, the Yardstick One, priced at $99. The name stands for Yet Another Radio Dongle, which sounds casual until you realize what it actually does. Yardstick One can transmit and receive digital wireless signals at frequencies below 1 GHz, covering the 300 to 348 MHz, 391 to 464 MHz, and 782 to 928 MHz ranges, with support for multiple modulation types and data rates up to 500 kilobits per second over full-speed USB. What that means in plain language is this. Almost every wireless device you use in your daily life that is not Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is operating in this frequency range. Your car key fob, your wireless doorbell, your smart home sensors, your gate remote, your garage clicker, all of it. Security researchers use this tool to capture the signals these devices broadcast, analyze them, and in many cases, replay them to trigger the same action without ever having the original device. It connects to a computer via USB and is controlled through Python, meaning someone who knows what they are doing can build a completely custom signal attack workflow around it. At $99, this is not a toy for a niche audience anymore. Number 2 is the PortaPack H4M, which, depending on your configuration, will run you anywhere between $190 and $400. The PortaPack H4M is a standalone, all-in-one portable SDR device built on the HackRF framework, and its pre-flashed Mayhem firmware gives you out-of-the-box functionality, including receive, transmit, replay, scan, GPS spoofing, jamming tools, key fob utilities, ADS-B aircraft tracking, and Bluetooth monitoring, all without needing an external computer. This is the upgrade from just having a HackRF plugged into a laptop. You carry this in your pocket. It has its own screen and navigation controls, its own battery, and it is completely self-contained. The fact that GPS spoofing is literally a built-in menu option on a device you can buy off a shelf is the kind of thing that takes a moment to sink in. Researchers have documented GPS spoofing being used to feed false location data to ships at sea, and here is consumer hardware that puts that capability in your jacket pocket. Number 3 is the iNet GL-MT300N-V2, better known as the Mango, and it costs $22. This is a pocket-sized travel router running OpenWrt firmware, and it is what penetration testers use when they want a budget rogue access point that does not require the more expensive Wi-Fi Pineapple. You can configure this device to mimic any Wi-Fi network, intercept traffic, route connections through a VPN tunnel for a covert egress point, or set it up as a transparent network bridge to sit silently in line on a wired connection. It has 2 Ethernet ports, a USB port, and it fits in a coin pocket. Security professionals flash custom configurations onto it before engagements, drop it somewhere discreet, and route all the traffic from a target network through a remote server they control. $22. That is less than most people spend on lunch. Number 4 is the DigiSpark Atini 85, which costs between $4 and $6 depending on where you order it. This is the budget version of the keystroke injection attack, and the price point is what makes it genuinely alarming. While the USB rubber ducky costs around $79.99, the DigiSpark Atini 85 only costs $4 to $6, making it a functional alternative for keystroke injection attacks. The trade-off is that the Atini 85 has only about 6 kilobytes of storage compared to the rubber ducky's SD card, and its design is slightly more recognizable up close. But for someone who wants to drop a device in a parking lot, leave it on a desk, or plug it into a target machine during a brief moment of physical access, the price and availability make it dangerous. You can order 10 of these for less than $50. The security research and CTF communities have developed extensive payload libraries for it. It is real, it is tiny, and it costs nothing. Number 5 is the OMG adapter, sitting at $200. We covered the OMG cable in our last video, the charging cable with a Wi-Fi implant hidden inside it. The OMG adapter is a different form factor of the same idea, but arguably even more dangerous because of how invisible it is. It looks like a simple USB-A to USB-C adapter, the kind of small dongle that sits in the back of a laptop or floats around in a desk drawer completely unnoticed, but it carries the same implant capability keystroke injection via DuckyScript, Wi-Fi control, remote payload deployment, and spoofed USB identifiers, so the computer cannot distinguish it from a normal adapter. You plug one of these between a legitimate cable and a computer, and the device is now compromised. Most people would never look twice at a small adapter in a USB port. That is exactly the point. Number 6 is the Wi-Fi Coconut by Hack5, originally priced at around $200. The Wi-Fi Coconut is an open-source full-spectrum Wi-Fi sniffer that simultaneously monitors the entire 2.4 GHz airspace using 14 finely tuned 802.11 Wi-Fi radios in a single USB-C device, capturing standard PCAP files that integrate directly with tools like Kismet and Wireshark. The reason this matters so much is that most wireless packet sniffers can only monitor one channel at a time, meaning they have to hop between channels and inevitably miss traffic. The Wi-Fi Coconut eliminates that problem entirely. Every channel is covered simultaneously, all the time. For anyone trying to get a complete picture of everything happening on a wireless network in a given space, this is the only device that gives you true full-spectrum visibility. It is currently out of stock due to manufacturing supply issues, but previously purchased units are fully supported, and it is expected to return to production. Number 7 is the M5 Stick C Plus, loaded with ESP32 Marauder firmware, which costs between $20 and $30. The M5 Stick C Plus is a small orange rectangular device with a built-in screen and battery that was originally designed as a development board for hobbyists, but the open-source ESP32 Marauder firmware turned it into a full wireless attack and monitoring platform. With Marauder installed, it can run Wi-Fi deauthentication attacks that knock devices off their networks, scan for and list nearby Wi-Fi networks and connected clients, probe for hidden SSIDs, and perform PMKID attacks to capture authentication data offline for later cracking. The fact that a $20 piece of hardware sold openly as a development tool becomes a wireless network attack device with a freely available firmware flash is a pretty clear illustration of where the barrier to entry for this kind of capability now sits. Number 8 is the Key Grabber Air Hardware Keylogger, priced around $75 to $99. Physical inspections of unknown USB devices are one of the few reliable defenses against hardware keyloggers like this. The Key Grabber Air takes that threat up a level by adding wireless transmission. It plugs in between a keyboard and a computer and records every single keystroke typed into that keyboard, just like a standard hardware keylogger, but instead of requiring physical retrieval to extract the data, it transmits the logs wirelessly to a receiver that can be nearby. Every password, every message, every search, every command typed on that keyboard is captured and sent out. It requires zero software, installs nothing on the target computer, and will not be detected by any antivirus or endpoint security tool because it never touches the operating system. Physical security is the only defense, and most offices still do not check the back of their computers. Number 9 is the NFC Kill, priced at $299. The NFC Kill is described as the world's only RFID fuzzing tool, designed to securely disable RFID badges and test RFID hardware to audit access control systems. What it does in practical terms is send a burst of high-powered electromagnetic energy on NFC frequencies that permanently disables or corrupts RFID chips in the target range. This is used by security teams to verify that RFID cards cannot be remotely killed or corrupted by an attacker. But the implications of a device that can irreversibly brick access cards, contactless payment cards, and RFID-enabled devices from a close distance should be obvious. Hotel room keys, building access badges, transit cards, even newer passports all use RFID. This device is built to test their vulnerabilities, and the tests are not always gentle. Number 10 is the Throwing Star LAN Tap from Great Scott Gadgets, and it costs $14.99. This is possibly the simplest device on this entire list, and the simplicity is what makes it so effective. It is a small 4-port passive network tap with a star-shaped PCB. You cut a network cable, insert the throwing star inline, and it passively mirrors all traffic on that line to two monitoring ports simultaneously, in both directions, with no power required and absolutely no footprint on the network. Unlike active taps that can sometimes be detected through network scanning or timing analysis, a completely passive device like this generates nothing. It does not respond to pings, it does not show up on network maps, it just sits there and listens. At $14.99, it is the cheapest invisible surveillance device on this list, and it is made by the same company that designed the HackRF1. And that is 10 more gadgets that most people have absolutely no idea exist, sitting right there on the open market. If you are not subscribed yet, do it right now because we are just getting started. Drop a comment below telling me which gadget on today's list surprised you the most.